Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 49 coming at you with another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 1. Just loading into Game 2 of Team Struggle up against Slithereen Squad. I actually take it back. I thought they were done for the night. I thought they were only playing one game, but turns out it's early enough that both teams can play the second. Game 1 was an absolutely fantastic game, really showing off the Rat Dota power coming out from brightside New Zealand's Naga Siren. Had some fantastic control over his illusions, was able to simultaneously push in mid-racks as well as mid-racks and top racks at the same time while a huge 4v5 fight was happening over in the bottom lane. Had some insanely clutch 3 4-man black holes coming up from M0PLO over on this Enigma, really showing off the farm efficiency coming up from that hero in the jungle, as well as how powerful his black hole is in team fights. Just moving in right now, looks like Slithereen Squad get first ban this time.
Team ban.
Will be interesting to see if they actually throw out a respect ban to that Naga Siren, just in respect as a show of respect to brightside New Zealand, who played a fantastic mid Naga Siren that last game. That amount of Rat Dota was just too much for Slithereen Squad to handle, as they had to group up as 5 just to avoid being picked off. That Bounty Hunter pick was really greedy, didn't really add all too much to their early laning phase, as they went with the Enigma pickup as well as the Bounty Hunter, which kind of crippled that early game. They didn't really capitalize on the pushing power of that Juggernaut healing ward, as well as the Enigma Eidolons. First ban Mirana, coming out from Slithereen Squad, actually a respect ban towards Seize the Cheese, who played an the Spooky Scary Skeleton, who played a phenomenal Mirana, went for a bit of an unconventional build with the Yule's Scepter, with the Yule's to counteract the hookshot coming out from the Clockwork, as every time Clockwork hookshotted in, and was able to trap him out in the cogs. He can Yule Scepter himself to avoid the majority of the battery assault damage and leap himself on home. Also used it to help pick off enemy heroes. Had his timing down cold, used it on the Vengeful Spirit as she was leaving the jungle, caught her out the Yule Scepter, threw out the arrow, landed it, threw out the Starstorm, got an easy solo kill. Second ban Clockwork, respect to Millsies, who played a phenomenal Clockwork mid. Wasn't able to shut down the Naga Siren through the cog spam, but still was able to break pretty even, and his hook shots as well as his cogs helped secure a lot of kills in the early game for his team. Second ban, Nature's Prophet, pretty standard offlaner ban. They were worried about Rat Dota, but it turns out they banned the wrong rat. Looks like brightside New Zealand went in with the Naga Siren. Ancient Apparition is the first pickup. This is the king in the tri-lane I was talking about. Visage and Ancient Apparition, too much damage to deal with in the tri-lane situation, just because of that chilling touch, the fact that at level 1, in the Tri-v-Tri situation, all 3 heroes get 3 extra hits with 50 magic damage added to them. Proves to be a huge amount of burst damage potential coming out. Team Struggle, they've got first and second pick. We'll see if brightside New Zealand wants to go in with that Naga Siren again. He's been itching to show off his micro skills. Venomancer is the first pick up. Bit unusual, very rare to see Venomancer picked up so early on in the draft. And he's a strong hero, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's usually that high a priority to pick up. His biggest advantage is the fact that he's got the best level 1 snare at level 1 in the game, Venomous Gale, 700 range, AoE. If it catches you 60% snare, you are dead. No way you're going anywhere. Nyx Assassin picked up. Another very strong hero, can be used, he's best used in an offlane or in a solo situation. He can go mid as well, although you best want to throw in a 1v1 situation up in that offlane. Just because of the fact that with his recent buff to his HP, I think he was actually buffed for after TI2, but the fact that he has 3.2 base HP regen per second. Grab a poor man shield on him. You can laugh away any harassment coming out from the supports. Once you hit level 6, Vendetta ganks everywhere, forces the support heroes to play very defensively, to always have to buy sentries and dust that invisibility attacks. Slark is the first pick. He actually got completely through the drop. Will be terrifying to see how Slark faces off up against Team Struggle. Very few heroes that can shut down Slark, just because of the fact that his Dark Pact now gives him, his Shadow Dance now gives him 5.5 seconds. He's completely invisible. It doesn't matter if you have Sentry, Dust, or Gem. He's still invisible in that inky blackness. He will be able to stab you, steal some stats, get that pounce in combination with that Dark Pact damage. Slark is such a strong hero to deal with, just because of how annoying he is. And not only that, he also provides that strategic control to the rest of your team, with Shadow Dance providing giving you knowledge of where enemy wards are placed. Just because every time you see yourself not regenerating HP, you know they have vision of me, so therefore they must have a ward somewhere, or if they have a hero like a Spirit Breaker who's charging you know he's charging you, so it gives you time to react to that. Deliberating a bit over on their third ban, they see the Venomancer as well as the Nyx Assassin. They go for that respect ban for that Naga Siren.
Team ban.
Huge pat in the back for brightside New Zealand, who played out of his mind, was able to create a huge amount of space for his team. Went for a very greedy Midas pickup early on, wasn't punished for it at all by his huge defensive plays. The few times he was ganked, he was able to Song the Siren and then walk his way on out. Great reactions coming out from him. Third ban from Struggle, we'll see who they choose to ban out. With a Slark as well as Ancient Apparition, they know that the tri-lane, they have one support heroes down for that. Slark most likely will be mid. He can work in a try situation, but most likely you want to give him a solo lane just to give him as much EXP as possible. As he's a snowball hero, he heavily relies upon hitting level 6, level 7 as soon as possible and picking up that first big item like a Shadow Blade. Deliberating a bit on this, they're not too sure who they want to ban out. Would most likely be seeing an offlane or a mid ban coming out from them. Although I guess if they're assuming Slark is going mid, they could safely take that off. Slark can function in all 3 lanes. Similar to that Mirana, he can go mid, he could go in a 1v1 offlane situation. Slark against Naix Assassin. I believe Slark comes in on top just because he can predict the Impale coming out from Naix Assassin and use that Dark Pact. Naix Assassin does have that mana burn to help control him, and we've got Outward Destroyer. Very strong hero. He's pretty much a standard ban in all of these games so far, just because of the fact that he pigeonholes you into picking heroes that counter or break even with them. There aren't too many that can do that. Fourth ban, coming out from Slithereen Squad. Will be interesting to see who they ban out. They know that they most likely have their offlane sorted out. Naix Assassin's very rarely seen mid, as there are heroes that can do a lot more with what he can. Just because once he hits 6, you're going to be roaming around. That means that mid lane isn't being used. So if you pick up greedy supports, it can work well with Naix Assassin mid, as they could then rotate to the mid lane to pick up their level 6 and help out with those ganks. With that Venomancer pickup, they could be thinking they want to go into an aggressive tri-lane, so they want to clash tri-v-tri. That means they want to ban out other strong tri-lane heroes, and the Phantom Assassin. I don't think I've ever seen Phantom Assassin banned out in a tri-lane before. In a game before. It's very rare for her to be banned out, just because she is very squishy, easy to lock down. If she doesn't get a great start in the early game, you can keep her down. She has received that recent buff to coup de grace, so it's now 450% crit, 4.5 instead of just 4. And a respect ban coming out from that Enigma. M0 PLO played a fantastic Enigma, had 3 huge black holes, completely caught Team Struggle by surprise.
10 seconds.
They were able to capitalize with them. And Lifestealer as the carry coming out from Struggle. Great synergy with Venomancer and Lifestealer as Venomancer's Gale, and there was Lifestealer get up close, get that open wounds, especially with the recent nerfs. It only has 200 range at level 1 now. Once you get that open wounds off, with that rage, he can beat you down. Lifestealer hits like a truck. He's one of those heroes where you have to get a great early game lead, you have to win the try-v-try situation, you have to get those early kills, get early farm, as the only way he can go toe-to-toe with other carries is if he's ahead. That's his biggest drawback. Like that Chaos Knight, like Viper, you always have to have one item advantage in order to maintain superiority. Lifestealer's biggest weakness is the fact that he can be kited. The best way to counter him is for your support heroes to pick up 4 staffs, to pick up Ghost Scepters, to pick up someone like a Viper or a Shadow Demon who can slow him through his rage, and that really shuts down the amount of damage you could do. Earthshaker is a secondary support hero. Bit of a defensive support hero, although if he does get a huge Fisher block off, he can more than make up for that. The reason why Earthshaker isn't such a great offensive hero with the Ancient Apparition is he'll be hanging around the side, so he won't be receiving the Chilling Touch. He won't be able to get that many right clicks in anyway as a melee hero. So he's mostly there just to set up that Fisher. Is an excellent defensive support hero though, as if they do dive on one of your heroes, he's hanging out the side, you can throw out that Fisher, split the fight, draw them back. Invoker picked up as a 4th pick, so Brightside New Zealand going to show us his Invoker skills. Will be interesting to see if he goes Quas Wex or Quas into Exort. Have been seeing more Exort builds on Invoker as of late, but with the recent buffs to Quas Wex, with that EMP doing 550 mana burn, as well as providing half the mana burn back to Invoker, really resolves one of his biggest issues, which was sustaining his mana pool in fight when you're throwing out 9-10 spells. Interesting to see how Invoker fares up against that Slark as well. I'm not actually too sure who would win in the 1v1 situation, and a Magnus pickup. So it could be Slark in the offlane and Magnus mid. Magnus up against Invoker. Magnus, similar to that Enigma, has that huge ult which can help set up and completely wreck fights. Actually, Magnus is a reason why Enigma hasn't been picked up all too much. It's the fact that his reverse polarity gives you all the strengths of the black hole without any of the drawbacks. It has a lower cooldown, it does more damage, and it's not a channel ability that even repositions them for you. So that's one of the reasons why Enigma was made obsolete, as well as the fact that jungling heroes sort of fell out of the meta, because you wanted aggressive jungling heroes like that Enchantress, like that Chen, not defensive jungling heroes like the Enigma, who can come in for a gank with Malefice and with the Eidolons hitting you, but it's not as reliable as Enchantress coming in with that Ursa for that clap, with the enchant, and later on transitioning into the impetus damage. Then out with the Bounty Hunter, I guess they were considering the fact that it could be a Slark tri-lane, which is always a viable option. But otherwise, Bounty Hunter could be another greedy pickup. He didn't really accomplish all too much for the Slithereen Squad in the last game. Matty J. Bell wasn't able to rotate around the map all too much. He didn't really get all too many track kills. I felt like the instant he hit level 7, had that level 4 shuriken tossed up, he should have at least had a TP around so he could rotate in for ganks, get at least 1 or 2 track kills, or at least punish them, trade kill for kill, make sure that he can keep the support heroes of Team Struggle down. 5th ban coming out. Oh, I thought I was going to sneeze for a second. There we go. They're dipping into their reserve time. They've gone for that Weaver 5th ban. A bit of respect coming out to Tiggle Biddies, who played a great Weaver, and Tinker. So looks like an offlane Invoker with a mid Tinker, or perhaps you could even see a jungling or ancienting Tinker. Not too sure how relevant it still is, but it definitely used to be a big thing with Tinker. If you have good efficiency, you actually can farm just as fast as you can ancienting or jungling as you can over in the middle lane. Pick up your Boots of Travel, pick up your Solar Ring, start jumping around the map. Once you get your Blink Dagger, it's almost impossible to gank you. And Viper counterpick to that Lifestealer. Viper's been seeing a lot more action ever since Horseman of the Ruckus picked him up to counterpick that Ember Spirit. Viper's a fantastic anti-carry, or counter-carry. And yeah, it looks like BrightSideNZ going to be playing that Tinker in the middle lane. Spooky Scary Skeleton over the Naix Assassin and Invoker. So I guess Invoker will be going in 1v1 in the off lane with a tri-lane Naix Assassin with the Venomancer as well as the Naix. Should be an interesting game to see. M0 PLO actually not playing the Magnus. He played an absolutely phenomenal Enigma. I guess Insanio must be their offlaner. He says, hey buddy, I got this. No, Matty J. Bell's their offlane player, so it'll be interesting to see how they lane this. Millsy, however, is their mid player. So Viper mid, faring up against BrightSideNZ. Should be a pretty even matchup. As Viper against another ranged hero, especially one with a blind like Tinker,
5 seconds remaining.
is difficult for him to go for a kill attempt, but at the same time, BrightSideNZ will have a tough time bringing down Millsy, just with that corrosive skin, the fact that Viper only needs 1 point in his poison attack now. His cooldown was reduced, so at level 1 has 0-second cooldown, whereas before you needed 3 points in poison attack before you could start orb walking. That proved to be a significant clincher, as it means you could max out that Nether Toxin early on, or max out the corrosive skin. Just going to quickly introduce the players from both teams. Cadaver, their captain and support player, over on that Ancient Apparition. We'll see if he goes for Cold Feet or the Chilling Touch. Never mind, he hasn't skilled either. Could be a tri-lane Viper, actually. Millsy, their mid player from the last game, playing Viper. Matty J. Bell, who I believe is their offlaner. Yeah, we've got a Magnus mid, so he's going to be their offlane, playing that Slark. M0 PLO, the man who played a fantastic Enigma, playing that support Earthshaker. BrightSideNZ, captain for Team Struggle, as well as their mid player. Extremely talented player. He showed us his insane micro skills with that Naga Siren, as well as his Rat Dota capabilities. Going up mid in that Tinker. Sees to cheese on an Exalt build Invoker on the off lane. This should be an absolute delight to see. We'll actually kind of interested to see if they'll try to skip that tri-lane, as Invoker can't do anything at all 1v3. He has to go 1v1. Spooky Scary Skeleton over on the Naix Assassin. He played a phenomenal Mirana in that last game. Tiggle Biddies, their carry player, over on that Naix, clawing along. And Diablos, their support player, the Abominable Balls of Steel in the last game, coming up over in the Venomancer.
For good and all.
So game's just about to begin. Haste Rune over in the top lane. Cadaver picks that up. He's still saving his skill point, waiting for the right opportunity. Will be interesting to see if Team Struggle decide to rotate once they recognize that Invoker is up against that 1v3 situation, as Invoker is a very greedy hero. He needs a lot of farm, he needs a lot of EXP. And he functions almost like a semi-carry in that sense, as you do want to get a good start on him and maintain that, as if Invoker gets behind on levels, he offers extremely little to the team. But with the right levels up in his regens, he can rain absolute hell. BrightSideNZ already bullying Insanio out of lane. He's got that laser. He throws it out a bit prematurely. The reason why laser's so effective with Tinker is the fact that it gives you a 3-second blind. Actually, in a lot of cases, some Tinker players like to hold points in leveling up that laser. Keep it at level 1 until they're going in for a kill attempt. Just so they could use it for that blind and spam it out. 95 mana. Not the most spammable spell, but you can use it in strategic points when they're going in for CS. And wow, looks like no rotations coming out. Sees a cheese. Hanging out. Not really being harassed up by the Ancient Apparition or the Earthshaker. Would like to see AA pop that Chilling Touch, going for a few right clicks, but he's going for Cold Feet over at level 1. In terms of efficiency, Chilling Touch in the tri-lane situation does give you a lot more damage. It doesn't give you that lockdown. but usually the damage is enough to kill them before they could get out. Manny J. Bell, he's going to have an absolute ball of a time with no stuns coming out apart from that Naix Assassin. And Naix Assassin he can see coming. If he pops that Dark Pact, he'll be fine. Purges off the open wounds, purges off the Venomous Gale. It'll be interesting to see how that Slark does. I know Blink always ban him out just because of how terrified they are of that Slark and his potential and how annoying he is to deal against. Soul Ring immediately picked up by Brightside New Zealand, indicative of the fact that he wants to start ancient stacking and relying on the jungle. A lot of Tinker players usually skip the Soul Ring. They don't pick it up until they have Boots of Travel, until they have that rearm. As Soul Ring with rearm is absolutely fantastic. Once you have your Boots of Travels, it means you always have that. You can get off a second march of the machines before you have to. It lets you trade your HP for mana, which you're more than happy to do. When you have the Boots of Travels, you can always go back to base. Playing Tinker is all about maximizing efficiency. He throws out that laser right now. Most likely we'll be going for that. Yeah, we see he's going for that match march of the machines build. He's already got an ancient stack happening. Courier flies in, gives him that Soul Ring, throws out March of Machines. Against the, as a melee hero, it's so hard to deal with March of the Machine. Every time he throws it out, you're forced to either cop a lot of damage to the face, or just to back off. The tri-lane, I would like to see the supports rotating, because there's no way they're going to be able to kill that Slark off, even if they do get a perfect rotation and gank in from that Spooky Scary Skeleton, that Naix Assassin, even if they do land that Impale. Not going to be able to do enough damage to kill him before he can pounce on out, before he gets that Dark Pact off to purge off the slow. So would like to see them rotate mid, provide a bit of support over for Tinker, make sure he gets a dominating lead, as Tinker is very vulnerable in lane. He is dependent on picking up Boots of Travels. Like Storm Spirit getting level 6, he needs to get that on before he starts to reach critical mass. Millsy copying a lot of creep aggro. Pops this elf, he should be fine. He's gone for that second point up in Nether Toxin. He wants to harass back Seize the Cheese. Seize the Cheese hanging around. He's got 1 point up. Is that the Forge Spirit? Yeah, he's got the Forge Spirit already invoked. Bit surprising. Usually we do see something like the Cold Snap already invoked, or even the Sunstrike if you're playing a bit more ballsy. But he's been getting a decent amount of EXP. I mean, he's level 3. They haven't attempted to go for a kill attempt on him at all. He's just hanging back, making sure to sap EXP when he can. He doesn't have all too much in terms of CS, but he's hoping that his tri-lane as well as his mid will be able to carry him through, create some space. Once Tinker gets Blink Dagger, once he gets Boots of Travel, Tinker can farm every single lane on the map and create a lot of space for your team. We'll see if Brightside New Zealand chooses to max out that Heat-Seeking Missile next, as he only needs that 1 point in the laser for the blind. Heat-Seeking Missile provides a lot more, especially with rearm, as it gives you a risk-free way to be able to provide damage to your team and finish off fleeing heroes. Great rotation coming up from him, choosing to forego Bottle. Just pops that Illusion Rune. He's got great awareness on his timings. Every single time he rotates out of the lane, it's to stack up creeps. So he's going to use that to pick up his early Boots of Travels. Interesting to see no ward placement, and we see M0PLO walks and throws at the Fisher. From his mana pool, looks like he threw out the Fisher earlier. Wasn't too successful, cops a lot of tower damage. And yeah, he's got a Soul Ring recipe, so it looks like he'll be going for a Soul Ring as an Earthshaker. Not bad pickup on him. Would like to see the Arcane Boots, but it is a bit cheaper to pick up. Manny J. Bell eats that Venom Scale, turns around, goes for a pounce, as well as the Dark Pact over in Diablos. Never mind, he doesn't actually have Dark Pact. He might actually go down. Manny J. Bell, what are you doing, buddy? You need at least 1 point in that Dark Pact to purge off the snares coming out, purge out the CC coming up from Spooky Scary Skeleton. And he feeds First Blood over to Tiggle Biddies. That's the worst last hero you're going to feed it to. Naix off to a phenomenal start. Looks like he's got a Hand of Midas coming out to him really soon. Great pickup on the Naix. It gives you the attack speed, gives you the EXP that you get from that transmute. Lets you get ahead and stay ahead. Good to see he's choosing to max out open wounds, and he's starting with a Stout Shield. Every other Naix player I've seen seems to max out Feast for God knows whatever reason, or go for that Quelling Blade, which you do not need. For Christ's sake, you hit like a truck. You don't need a Quelling Blade. Millsy getting some CS. We see Ancient Apparition going for that 1-1-1, so looks like he will be choosing to max out that Chilling Touch, as Chilling Touch really isn't the point, the ability to just want 1 point in. Interesting to see Millsy chose to go Treads over in Viper. Have been seeing Phase Boots picked up as a more popular pickup, just because it gives him that initial movement speed so he can get his Nether Strike off and use that to set up the snares. Although I guess if he's picking up the Aghanim Scepter, the 700 range coming up from the Aghanim Scepter is more than enough, that you shouldn't really need the extra movement speed. The HP is nice, means you can tank a lot more damage, but ideally the chasing power and mobility coming up from Phase tend to be superior. It's entirely up to player preference. and Tickle, but he's tanking the creep wave, making sure that the tower doesn't start getting shots in on these creeps. This is a fantastic way to control creep equilibrium, as one of the biggest mistakes that carry players tend to make, especially in a train lane like this, as they retreat back to the tower, let the tower start hitting the creeps, and that means the creep wave gets wiped out before your creeps arrive. It means that the creep wave pushes closer towards Manager Bell, gives them free experience and free gold. Looks like a gank attack down in the top lane. Invoker taking a lot of damage, eats a poison attack to the face. He's got Quas invoked, so giving that passive regen. Invokes Wex now. Huh, very interesting build coming out from Invoker. He's actually got 2 in Quas, 1 in Wex and 1 in Exort. Pretty interesting. He didn't go down. I guess he wanted that point in Wex so he could invoke Ghostwalk if he absolutely had to. But it looks like that tower's going to go down. He's level 5. He's actually been given a lot of free XP from an offlane hero. They haven't gone for a successful gank attempt. Slark, level 5 as well, but he turned around. He doesn't have a point in Dark Pact for whatever reason. You don't need that second point up in Essence Shift. You always want to make sure you got 1 point in Dark Pact. It's the reason why Slark works as an offlane hero, especially against this tri lane, where they don't have enough stuns to lock you down before and kill you, and enough burst damage to kill you. brightsideNZ picks up a fantastic amount of farm from that ancient stack. However, is leaving Magnus to his own devices. I think he's just picked up his Boots of Travels. 7 minutes in, Boots of Travels. He's given Magnus a lot of free farm in the middle lane and a lot of free experience, but he's picked up his Boots of Travels, so it should be worth it. Once Stinker picks up his Boots of Travels, he's able to get a lot more farm. Would like to see a Blink Dagger as his next big item, as shift queuing Blink when you BOT into a creep or into a lane. We see short range Tornado as well as that EMP. Only drains a small amount of monies, doesn't have enough points in Wex for it. Don't know why you went for that point in Exalt. Turns out he's actually switching his build around last minute. Recognizing the situation, Exalt isn't quite going to cut it. Very interesting. Over in the bottom lane, Slark turns around, gets that pounce. He has that Shutter Down, so he should be fine. brightsideNZ TP's in with that BOT, throws out that heat-seeking missile, but Manny J. Bell's happy with that. He has his ult. He's going to heal on up. If they do want to go for a kill attempt on him now, he is completely vulnerable, as he doesn't have Dark Pact, he doesn't have that Shadow Dance. Looks like Venomancer got that second point in Gale just to provide that killing dot damage that comes up with it. Would like to see him max out those wards. Ideally, I see a lot of Venomancer players, you want to max out Venomous Ward or Poison Sting. You usually, in the comp scene, you see people get 2 points up in Poison Sting, then choose to max out the wards, as wards do provide a hell of a lot. And the issue with having 1 point up in wards is that you can feed a decent amount of golden EXP to the other team, so you can kill them with a single attack. Manny J. Bell actually wasting the majority of the Chilling Touch procs on magic wards, on Venomancer wards, which are completely magic immune. Sees the cheese completely on his own up against Millsy. Millsy is going to hit Viper Strike up in a few more levels, going for that magic one. Very good early safe items, I guess. If he had the phase boots, he could harass Caesar Cheese in the lane.
That's not gonna hold.
But Caesar Cheese transitioning into the Quas Wex build. brightsideNZ cops the shockwave to the face, but just picked up a regeneration rune, so he's going to be just fine. M0PLO hanging around from the side. He's pinged out. Wants to go for that Fisher for the kill, but he's now out of position. Tickle, but he goes in. Gets some right clicks in. Spooky Scary Skeleton gets a 2-man impel. He's seeking missile, flies out. M0PLO throws at the aftershock. March goes down. Goes down to laser Manny J. Bell in Shadow Dance mode, but that's about to wear off. It wears off. He's called out Marching Machines. It's beaten down by Naix. Tinker gets a second kill. Fantastic play coming out from brightsideNZ. Almost went down to the shockwave, picked up the regeneration wound, and then got 2 kills. That's great luck coming out from him. He's got a bottle now. He's got his Soul Ring. He's about 1.4k off his Blink Dagger. Once he has that, he'll be able to start creating space wherever he goes, choosing to max out the heat-seeking missile after getting that 1-point laser with his Marching Machines maxed out. I do apologize for the lag. I think Orcon's currently at peak times right now, so the rest of my flat minutes are receiving it. I don't think any of them are downloading anything, so it could just be peak times. Bit too far for Insanio. Does have his reversible out. Never mind. It's on cooldown. He tried to skill him back to the tower range. Misses and cops a lot of damage from the Marching Machines. brightsideNZ picks up an invisibility rune. My god, the luck he's had with these runes everywhere he goes. Insanio turning around, throwing out that shockwave, knowing that brightsideNZ most likely is going to turn around and chase him. Throws out that missile. Just a cheeky bit of harassment. Lasers the creep to blind him so he can tank him in front of the tower. Gets that CS over in the bottom lane. Looks like some action's happening. Spooky Scary Skeleton called up by the pounce. He's going to go down. Throws out the impel. Catches out Manny J. Bell. Manny J. Bell pops the Shadow Dance. Earthshaker drops his enchant totem. Gale comes out. Catches him blind. Spooky Scary Skeleton pops his carapace. He's going to go down, but he's going to make sure it's a trade 1-for-1. Slark really hasn't been all too effective in this lane. Turns around with M0PLO. Pops the Soul Ring. Throws out the Fisher. Missiles go fly out from brightsideNZ. and as well as the laser. But it's only 1 point laser, only 80 pure damage. Not going to be enough to kill him. Great plays coming out from Spooky Scary Skeleton, recognizing that he can at least make it a trade for Slark. He doesn't have that point up in Dark Pact still, and he's making them pay for it. Slark really has been all too effective. He's got 5 CS, and he's 1 for 3 on the Slark on the offlane. He's got treads now, but Slark is a hero that relies on getting a really good early game lead, snowballing that. When he gets a bad lead, really hurts him as a hero. Becomes a bit of a drain to the rest of his team, as they're relying on their offlane to do well. Since their mid lane broke even with Incendio sitting at a decent amount of farm, he's about 1k off that Blink Dagger, but the sheer efficiency coming up from Brightside New Zealand means that he's going to get his Blink Dagger before Magnus does. We've got an aggressive ward placed out, spawning on Spooky Scary Skeleton. It's done so that they see any rotations happening whenever he decides to go for the Ancients. Cadaver hanging around, is pinged up by Spooky Scary Skeleton. He wishes he was level 6 right now. He wishes he had Vendetta. Venomancer actually goes down to Earthshaker as well as the Slark. Looks like a Fisher dealt the last bit of damage for that one. But that Pounce combination coming out. Level 8, still choosing to disregard Dark Pact. Please. We've got Reverse Polarity over in Tiggle, but he's a carry. He rages. He's going to be fine. M0PLO, his Soul Ring just came off cooldown. He pops it right then. He wanted to get that Fisher out. Didn't have a chance to. Does pick up Arcane Boots, though. Interesting he chose to go for Arcane Boots, considering he has that Soul Ring. When you go for Soul Ring, it means you don't want to go for the Arcane Boots. Ancient Apparition taking a decent amount of damage. He's running back home. Not too sure what happened there, but look, most likely a train he heads over with the Invoker. Invoker's picking up a lot more farming XP now. They've been leaving alone ever since I took that tower. Phase Boots picked up on him, almost level 9. Venomancer goes down once again to Slark with that Fisher combination. Naix hiding inside a range creep. Tiggle biddies. He's behind enemy lines. He wishes someone's there to help him out right now. His rage is about to wear off cooldown, so with the HP coming out, didn't have enough mana for it, but he should be fine. He went for treads. Not a big fan of the treads pickup. Manny J. Bell actually going to dive with that Shadow Dance. Gets caught up by a blind impale from Spooky Scary Skeleton, wasting the complete duration of that Shadow Dance. Manny J. Bell's now he's the one caught up behind enemy lines. Ancient Apparition denies the Dire bottom tower. He's still hanging around, but he's got that pounce. He should be fine. He pounces on out of there. That's 3 heroes over the bottom lane. Fisher thrown out, catches that Spooky Scary Skeleton. Missiles, well as laser. Deals a lot of damage to Cadaver. Where's that Rearm coming out from Brightside? Rearm, he's going to TP back home. He doesn't have enough mana to do anything. He's got that Soul Ring, though, as well as the 2 bottle charges, so he can be there to throw out the Marching Machines or Missile. Do a bit more damage. But he jets on back home. The reason why Treads isn't such a great pickup on the Lifestealer is you don't really need the attack speed. You get all the attack speed in the world, from, especially since he has Midas, from the Rage, from the Armor Medigian, from the Maelstrom, the major item pickups that you go for over on Naix. Insania wishes he had that RP right now. He wasted it earlier, trying to go for a gank attack on Tiggle Biddies, but he should be fine. But the reason why Treads is a bad pickup is on Lifestealer, if you're not hitting somebody, you're not doing any damage at all. You get very easy to kite the Lifestealer outside of open wounds. Diablo is caught way out of position. Eats the pounce. Eats a poison attack to the face. It looks like he should be fine. Missile flies out. EMP burns off all the mana on the Dire side. Manny J. Bell gets one last shit in. But it looks like it might be a trade. M0 PLO is on very low HP. Cadaver's called out. Laser. Where's the missiles from Brightside New Zealand? He's just going to right-click him down. Throws out one more right-click. Gets the kill. Cadaver's caught out of position. He's definitely going down.
Is doing its best, but it doesn't look good.
He's going to get right-clicked down by Brightside New Zealand. Skewer over to kill Tiggle, but he's cutting, he's jerking, but he goes down to one last right click from Millsy with that poison attack. Brightside New Zealand throws out the missile. TP's on home. He actually goes down to the damage coming up from Millsy. Invoker comes in, gets a kill with that cold snap damage. Manny J. Bell gets called out by the Gale. Wishes he had that Dark Pact. He could still turn around. Tornado flies out, catches out the Magnus. Deafening Blast disarms them. And Sanio's called out of position. They want to get a kill over on him. Manny J. Bell should be fine. He's still being chased down by Venomancer. Diablos wants blood. And Sanio actually TP's home. And M0 PLO comes in for that Fisher to provide a little bit of covering fire. Lifestealer almost has his Armlet Medigian. Blink Dagger just picked up on Magnus. Brightside New Zealand, he died costing a spree. Huge amount of gold flying out in favor of the Dire side. But with that Blink Dagger, he got a similar amount of time. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check. 2,000 EXP in favor of the Radiant side. 1,500 gold in favor of the Radiant as well. That's purely due to the tower gold as well as the efficiency coming out from that Tinker. As you see in terms of last hits, Naix with that Midas, as well as Tinker with that Ancient stacking, has got a lot of farm. Surprised the dire side hasn't chosen to ward block the Ancient, or at least attempt to contest them. They're just leaving Brightside New Zealand to sit there, farm away, showing off his efficiency on that Tinker, getting a huge amount of farm. With that Blink Dagger, we'll see him start to TP all over the map. They've got that ward placed there aggressively on the Ancients. They can spot him out, but there isn't all too much they could do. Mid lane's taking a lot of harassment. Cadaver TPs and throws out that Ice Blast. He's level 6. Choosing to max out Cold Feet with just 1 point over that Chilling Touch. Blinken, as well as the skewer over Brightside New Zealand. He's caught out. He goes down to the skill. Waste of his skewer. Nonetheless, they take the fight. Sees the cheese. They get a lot of damage from Manny J. Bell as well as Millsy. EMP goes off, burning all of Slark's mana. Mana burn is wasted on him. And he survives. Good fight coming up from the dire side. They get 2 for none. Ancient Apparition goes down the middle lane, but they're more than happy to trade that for a kill on Invoker as well as the Tinker. 2 of the 3 cores over on Team Struggle. Not too sure if Tinker was caught out there, especially with that Blink Dagger. Invoker, he's going for that Yules. He's got the Sage's Mask as well as Staff of Wizardry. Would like to see a 4-staff on him, but Yules also works just as well. Spooky Scary Skeleton. Actually, Insania cancels his TP, blinks out instead. Take old biddies, caught out by the Fisher. Ice Blast flies out. Procs on Naix, but he should be able to beat down the Earthshaker. Never mind, he wishes he had that phase boost. That one extra hit. Gale misses on everybody. Tingle, but he's a bit too far forward. Gets caught out with that Pounce, with that Dark Pact, with that Shockwave, as well as skill damage. Manny J. Bell uses that Dark Pact. There you go. Don't you wish you had that now? Brightside New Zealand blinks and gets a laser last hit. Diablos looks like he might go down. He goes on the 1 last shift. Brightside New Zealand called out of position now. He eats a poison attack to the face. Things aren't going on too well for Struggle. He gets 1 last hit on Ancient Apparition that kills him. But Manny J. Bell as well as Millsy cleaning up. 4 for 2. Great play coming up from the Slithereen Squad. EXP and gold difference is starting to dip in favor of them. EXP is actually in their favor at about 1,000 EXP. That's the gold, the huge amount of EXP coming out from the level lead that they had from the sprees. Invoker throws out a Tornado, but there isn't anything else he could do. He actually cops a bit of corrosive skin damage. Naix has his armlet now, so it'll be interesting to see what item he chooses to go for. Since he chose to go for such high attack speed, would like to see a Skull Basher on him. If he has that nice delivery system, if Naix Assassin picks up a Blink Dagger, or even Brightside New Zealand, when he blinks in to go for those engagements, he can jump out, get that early damage off, the huge amount of burst damage potential coming out with Tinker, especially with the fact that he has Boots of Travel and Rearm. Means that if they can see you farming a wave, Diablo's cops a Fisher to the face, gets pulled back with a skewer, eats the Ice Blast, throws out the Ice Nova, but goes down to Magnus. Brightside New Zealand goes and throws out the Magic Missile. The Heat-Seeking Missile's a bit too early, didn't have vision. That means he didn't fire out the missiles. Cadaver's backing off. Brightside New Zealand actually gets a kill on Earthshaker from the Marching Machines. He spent a bit too long staying there, blinks in, throws out the Heat-Seeking Missiles, doesn't have enough mana to follow up with a laser, and jets on back home. Over in the top lane, we see Lifestealer is beating down the tier 1 top. He's uncontested so far. Would like to see Struggle do a bit more Rat Dodo, do a bit more split push. Spooky Scary Skeleton, hang around Vendetta. Tornado catches out too. EMP's gonna pop on Slark. Slark is able to pounce out of that. Ice Blast hits, completely whiffs. Sees the Cheese being chased. Pounce lands over on Sees the Cheese. Would like to see it. Where is that Ghost Walk? Invoke Ghost Walk. Come on, buddy. Never mind. It's on cooldown. He runs back. Tinker's able to kill off Ancient Apparition in the background. Marching Machines throwing to give himself a bit of cover. Tinker, but he's catching out Sanio. Forced to blow. Defensive reverse polarity. He's crawling away. Blinks out. Brightside New Zealand blinks in after him, but he blinks out before he does. Manny J. Bell eats a Heat-Seeking Missile to the face. He should be fine. Fisher blocks off the retreat. Great play coming from M0PLO. Just a farming tornado from Invoker. Sees the Cheese. About 1,000 gold away from his Yule Scepter. Would be a great pickup on him, give him a lot more survivability. As well as that Cyclone over on Slark, or even on himself when Slark jumps him. Aghanim Scepter picked up on the Viper. This is a huge pickup for Viper, as Aghanim Scepter increases the range of Viper Strike to about 900. Never mind, it's even longer than it was before. 900 range, Aghanim Scepter, Viper Strike. If he catches you in it, you are dead. 80% snare, no way you're escaping from that. Viper does so much damage on his own if he's able to just right click away at you. And not only that, it goes through BKB, So Naix's rage is not going to help him at all. It means it's very easy to kite him around, especially with that Earthshaker. He could throw out those fishes, especially with Incendio. He could skewer him forward, skewer him out of there, keep him away from his teammates, control him with that RP. Naix pickup might not work out all too well for Team Struggle. They're going to have to really rely on their Invoker as well as their Tinker, getting a bit more farm. Looks like he's going for the Sheepstick build, already picked up the Ultimate Orb. Bit interesting is, usually Tinkers tend to go for that Mystic Scepter. Mystic Staff, sorry, gives them a lot more intelligence, means they could level that second point up in rearm. As rearm, leveling the second and third point of rearm is entirely based on how much mana pool you have. So Mystic Scepter is usually preferable as it gives you 15 more points intelligence compared to the 10 to all stats from the Ultimate Orb. But looks like he wants that bit of survivability as well, as he has been playing balls to the wall, blinking in very aggressively. Tinker's going to throw out the rearm, missiles, marching the machines. This is why it's such a pain in the ass to push against a Tinker. Backstab coming out from the Boys of Struggle. Smoke Gang coming in. Manny J Bell's going to be called down. Sees the cheese, throws out the tornado, misses everybody. EMP hits Slark. Nova on one. Cadaver goes down immediately. 3-man RP. Viper Strike over on Tiggle Biddies, but they're already on the run. Slark hanging around the backhand. He killed off Venomancer on his own. 1 for 1. Support for support. Slark is still hanging around, playing very confident. Tinker TP's over to the bottom lane, recognizing that M0 PLO, good recognition from him, leashing back the creep wave, giving his creep wave more time to hit the tower, bring it down to low HP, just outside of deny range, and Brightside New Zealand able to get a lot of farm. He needs to get that Sheepstick. He's actually taking a lot of damage right now. He needs to be careful so it doesn't go down. Blinks out immediately, uses that soul ring to give him more mana, and BO2's back home. Once he gets that Sheepstick, he'll have a great way to control that Slark, as Hex's instant cast 3.5 second disable reduces movement speed to 100 as well as disabling evasion. So if Slark or the Viper decide to pick up a butterfly, it won't matter if you get hexed. And not only that, as Tinker has his rearm, he can continue to hex down a single target continuously or hex down multiple targets in the fight. Really gives him a lot of disable. There are 3 conventional builds for Tinker once you build that Blink Dagger or Force Staff. You could go for the Aghanim Scepter, which is the Death Ball push. This has happened recently with the upgrade, increasing the amount of missiles to 4, doubling the laser range. It's extremely difficult to go break high ground against Tinker. Makes it very difficult to fight against Tinker in these early engagements. It's 4 missiles flying out, hitting every member of your team, as well as that Execution laser with 1.1k range. Very difficult. Manny J Bell forced to blow Shadow Dance prematurely. He doesn't want to do that. He's built going straight to the Eye Skadi. Second build for the Tinker is the Sheepstick, which it looks like Brightside New Zealand's going for. That's when your team needs that lockdown. Gives you a guaranteed 3.5 second stun. Means the longer the fight goes, the more disables you can get off. And the third build, as well as the most common one in public games, is the Dagon build. Gives you so much burst power. I believe Brightside New Zealand actually went for that in his game series up against Paddy's Pub Stomp. You go for that build when you know that your team has all the lockdown but needs that damage, or if you're really far ahead. Manny J Bell pounces in, eats that Geld in the face. Impale actually misses for Spooky Scary Skeleton. Blink Skewer whips. Tornado catches out Incendio. Missile flies out as well as later. Not enough damage to kill Slark. He should be fine. If he had that, because Shadow Dance was on cooldown, that could have actually turned around very badly for him. But in the end, he's able to get his way back home, regenerate with that Shadow Dance. He should be fine. Brightside New Zealand blinking up, throwing out a few more missiles, saying, "Scoot, go on, get." Goes to the top lane, gotta get him a bit more farm. He's almost got his Sheepstick picked up. They want to delay fights until he picks up the Sheepstick, and then maybe look to get a few pickoffs. Lifestealer going for the Assault Cuirass over the Cranium Basher. Sorry, he recognizes that he's not getting time to hit people, so he needs to get that survivability, especially against that Viper, as all of Viper's damage is physical, apart from the dots coming out from his ult, as well as his poison attack and corrosive skin. Drum of Endurance as well as Blink Dagger picked up on the dire side. Blink Dagger, huge pickup with the Earthshaker. I don't think I've seen him actually use an Echo Slam. Naix Bomb happening, he just jumped inside the Invoker. Top lane goes down. Spooky Scary Skeleton called out the Blink Skewer. Never mind, I think that was just a blind Blink Skewer. They don't have vision to finish him off. Or maybe he was forced to blow that Vendetta early. Tier 1 mid is going to go down. Diablos comes in, throws out the Gale. He hasn't really been all too effective. Just because of that, Slark keeps focusing down the fights. Looks like he's going for... Actually, Earthshaker gets picked off. Great kill coming out over in the bottom lane. Sorry I missed that one. Looks like Venomancer is going for the mechanism. The Blink Dagger over an Earthshaker, it means he can get those... the Many J Bell pounces a bit too soon, misses everybody. It means he could get the perfect angled fishes off to isolate fights. It means he could get those Echo Slams off. I don't think he's dropped a single ult this entire game so far. Usually because he's out of mana or dead, dies too quickly before he can do anything. And the Drum of Endurance, great pickup on the Magnus. We'll see what items he chooses to go for now. Would be good to see something like Shiva's Guard over in the Magnus, as it gives him the mana pool. So, and he's got an Ogre Club, so it could be a BKB. Bit unsure of that pickup. I guess the majority of damage coming out from the Radiant side is magical. However, keep in mind, much of the machines is universal. If you have magic immunity, it will deal physical damage to you. Over in the middle lane, Diablo's called out. Slark is really making him pay, even though he didn't go for that Dark Pact in the early stages. This Slark has been given way too many free kills. He's almost got that Ayaskadi. 200 gold off. That could prove to be their undoing, despite having a horrendous early game start. 1 for 3 with only 5 CS. He's able to get a lot of kills, and that's that shift Q blink. Never mind, he actually just interrupted that. Sees the cheese, runs in, throws out the Tornado EMP. Cheeky bit of harassment. With the shift to EMP taking 0.6 seconds longer, you actually want to drop EMP before your Tornado, as otherwise, as you saw before, they can just run on out of it. The counter to the Invoker EMP Cross-Wax combination is just to build 2 or 3 Arcane Boots. I guess that's why the Soul Ring was picked up with the Earth Shaker, so he knows that even if his mana is drained out by the EMP, he always has that Soul Ring, so he can convert some of his HP for mana. Use that to get that Clutch Fisher off. Marching Machine Spam coming out from Tinker. Manny J Bell hanging around the side. Missile flies out, says, "Hey, we see you." Spooky Scary Skeleton goes and gets a quick kill over an Inch Apparition. Manny J Bell, almost all of his mana's burned out. He's forced to blow Shadow Dance defensively. Open wounds up. He's backing away. brightsideNZ goes for a kill over Mills. He's able to hex him down. Millsy wasn't able to get a single ult off over that fight. Tingle gets 3 kills. Manny J Bell on low HP. brightsideNZ going to come on in, drop the hammer. He's TP back home, getting a bit more HP. Invoker sees the cheese, brings him down. Yule stepped his Earthshaker. Caught out with the Impale as well as the Gale, and a few more right clicks from Tickle Biddies. Triple kill coming out from the Lifestealer. Great plays. Great defensive action coming out from Team Struggle. Ice Blast flies out, but that's just a fuck you Ice Blast. Not really all too much Ancient Apparition can do. He died early on the fight, so he was able to respawn. Push coming out from him. Invoker looks like with that point booster is going for that Aghanim Scepter. Reduces the Invoke cooldown to 2 seconds whilst getting rid of the mana cost. Means he can throw out all of his spells. Blink in. Throws out the Hex over on Cadaver. Goes into Laser. Wishes he had a Dagon. Actually might be called out. Stealer just shy of pushing him up into the high ground. brightsideNZ should be fine. Sips on his bottle. BOT zone. Millsy comes in. Wanting a bit of revenge. Not able to accomplish too much. Middle lane taking a bit of damage. Tier 2 tower. Ice Blast completely whiffs, but is able to clip them and apply that debuff. That could be significant. And it looks like they're going to be able to hold that tier 2. Venomous Ward's doing a lot of damage to that tower. Might actually push it into 9 range. No, never mind. They're going to be able to kill it before they do. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check. In terms of EXP, 5,000 lead from Team Struggle. That was all from that one turnaround fight. In terms of gold, 5,000 gold lead as well. Team Struggle really starting to turn it around. They had a bit of an iffy start, especially with Matty J Bell getting so much farm and so many free kills over in that Slark. He still has terrible CS, but just the fact that he's able to secure these kills, and the fact that he chose to go for an Ayaskadi instead of an early Shadow Blade really has stopped his solo ganking potential. He's been forced to drop Shadow Dance defensively, wasting it. Doesn't really give him much of an offensive opportunity. He's been blowing it way too early in these fights to avoid going down. Haven't really seen some great Dark Pact plays from him. But nonetheless, he is proving how strong Slark is by inflicting a lot of damage. Sees the cheese? No, you should be finding Jets on out of there. And a level 1 Ice Blast flies out, does a bit more damage. With that BOT Tinker, with that Sheepstick, they have to be afraid. We'll see what item he chooses to go for next. Could be seeing a Dagon now that he has the Sheepstick up, giving himself more passives. Going into the top lane, throws out the marches. Constant split push threat coming up from brightsideNZ. This is what he did the last game of that Naga Siren. He's doing that now with that Tinker. We see the Dire side actually clearing out the Ancients. Millsy, don't think his items have really progressed ever since. No, he's picked up a Yasha, so he can able to use that to go into Manstar. Would like to see a BKB on him, so he doesn't get locked down and burned out like he did before. Using Cyclone and check for Roshan. Very clever players. It does not put them at risk. Looks like the Radiant side are going for a Roshan tap. Spooky Scary Skeleton has the Naix bomb inside them. Very risky, as they could always scout it out with the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast. Would that RP blink into a Roshan? A small AoE there. Can easily get a 3-4-man RP. Can completely turn them around, giving them a free Roshan as well. Cadaver, sensing something might be up. He's going a bit too far forward. He actually is caught way out of position now. He's going for a counter ward. Gets caught out by the snare from Diablos. Trading hits. He's way out of position. He might actually go down. Spooky Scary Skeleton. Poison Nova thrown out just ahead of him, turns around, throws out the Ice Blast. Impale catches him, that brings him down. Many J Impale goes down, instantly gets a kill. Naix Assassin with that pounce, as well as the Dark Pact, brings down too much damage, makes him shatter. Bright on New Zealand comes in from the side, gets a laser to kill, hexes the Slark. Diablo's getting a lot of damage from Millsy, Tornado to EMP. 2-man RP, Deafening Blast saves the both Bright on New Zealand as well as Tiggle Biddies. Viper Strike over on Tiggle Biddies, snaring him. Brightside New Zealand's low mana, he can't go in for a kill. He can throw out 1, maybe 2 spells, throws out the Hex, gives him time, throws out the laser, uses the skill to kill. 4 for 2, great exchange coming out. That looks like a free Roshan kill. And they know that the bottom rune, has been warded, so they will look to deward that. Tiggle Biddies, good plays coming out from him. That Assault Cuirass proving to make him very tough to kill, especially against that Viper. Ice Blast completely whiffs. He wanted to land it on Naix, get that shatter kill on him. You see Naix is constantly toggling his armlet, just giving that extra buffer of HP against that Ancient Apparition. Middle lane tower is denied. Insanio hexed up, lasered, rocketed. Brightside New Zealand goes in for the second hex, has that Dagon. M0PLO, looks like, is he going to drop that Echo Slam? Yeah, he drops it and gets a kill over on Brightside New Zealand. Good play coming up from him. It goes a little bit too far and pays for it with his life. Looks like he's going for the mechanism. Ancient Apparition hasn't been having a good game. He's forced to go for the Tranquil Boots. Aghanim Scepter picked up on the Invoker. The later the game goes, the stronger the Radiant side get, just because Invoker scales amazingly well to the late game as well as Tinker. And with that, Dagon pickup can instantly kill that Ancient Apparition if he catches him out on his own. Laser, Rocket, Dagon. Maybe a right click or two. Skullbasher coming out from Naix now, so if he does get some alone time with a hero, he could really beat them down. That Viper Aghanim Scepter has shut him down hard, has really limited his damage in these fights. But with that Naix Bomb coming out, with the Naix Assassin, not too shabby. It looks like Naix Assassin's going for that 4-star. He would ideally like that Blink Dagger, just so he can immediately jump in, pop that Carapace, throw out that Impale. And a bit of stacky having Spooky Scary Skeleton hanging around, waiting until the right time so he can stack the creeps again for Tinker, give himself some more farm. Ghost Walked Invoker as well. I think he smoked him as well. Was he smoked? No, he's just Ghost Walked, but he's got a Naix inside of him. Has that Yule Scepter as well as the Aghanims. Dagon level 2 picked up on Tinker. Scanning out. Almost blocked out M0PLO. No, never mind. Looks like he saw him. He's picking him out. He blinks out, wisely recognizing that something's not up. He knows that he's being snared by the Ice Walk. Spooky Scary Skeleton also creeping up behind him. This is like Jaws. Actually, Brightside New Zealand blinks as well. He's caught up on the RP. 2-man RP. 2-man Impale. Poison Nova. M0PLO goes down immediately. Millsy's hexed up by the Invoker. Hexed up by the Tinker, sorry. Nubian Assassin goes down the backhand. Hexed up, caught up by the laser, and then the Dagon. Brightside New Zealand, fantastic Invoker play. Really turned that fight around. Was caught out in the RP, but the instant came out of it. Was able to hex down key targets, use all of his spells, rearm, throw him out again, and just rain absolute hell. 4 for 1 fight for the boys over in Team Struggle. Cadaver's hanging around the backhand. He doesn't want a part of this. He knows if he gets seen, he'll get instantly killed by Tinker, who has a level 3, level 4 Dagon. Level 3 Dagon. With that Hex, with that laser, with that Rocket, he even backs out. He knows he's dead. That arrogance coming up from Brightside New Zealand. He knows how low his HP is before he's going to go down and brings him down. Looks like a free tier 3 tower going down for the Dire side.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Those wards drop. Ice Wall dropped it. Not too sure why that was dropped. I mean, none of the heroes are up for the Dire side. Earthshaker as well as the Magnus is up, but Magnus doesn't have RP. Earthshaker has Echo Slam. He could turn around and go for a huge Echo Slam, which he does right now. Goes down Brightside New Zealand, but he's going to die immediately afterwards. There's no follow-up damage. Brightside New Zealand caught out by the Viper Strike and skewered back. He goes down, but not before he Dagons the Magnus, and My last breath, I stab at thee. Caught out by the tornado, goes down from Tiggle Biddies. He's now godlike. Manny J. Bell pounces the Invoker. He's going to beat him down. Tiggle Biddies caught out with the Viper Strike, really slowing down his DPS. Going toe-to-toe up against Millsy. Looks like Millsy's going to win this one. Tried to go in for the Infest into a creep. Feeds Millsy his godlike streak, giving him 1,246 gold. Millsy, very happy to get that. Gets a triple kill of his own. They hold, but they lose their axe. It's a trade the boys from Struggle are more than happy to go for. Invoker and Spooky Scary Skeleton jet on out. He's got his Mantis style now, so they'll just add more DPS and more confusion. 12k EXP lead in favor of Team Struggle. 10,000 gold lead in favor of Team Struggle as well. They're still maintaining their lead. They still have their Ancient stacks to clear. 10k once he respawns, he's going to be more than happy to take that out. Give himself a bit more farm. Max out his Dagon. Then we might see something like an Ethereal Blade. Or even a Shivas. Shivas is a great sort of defensive pickup on Tinker, as it helps you with pushing especially. You can rearm, throw out the Frost Blast, rearm Frost Blast again with that Martian Machines, clears up the wave instantly. Good brainless pickups, all you have to do is hit the hotkey, you don't have to target it on anybody. But Brightside New Zealand playing a fantastic Tinker, showing off his skills once again, really creating space for his team and helping them dominate these fights. Diablo's hanging around. Hasn't really been using his wards to scout out all too much. Looks like they're going for that Ancient stack. Claire. Spooky Scary Skeleton showing off his new 4-star. Invisibility Rune pinged out by the Earthshaker. And look how fast the Ancients drop. Tinker's going to get a lot of farm from that. Enough to upgrade his Dagon up to level 4. Sees the cheese running around in Ghost Walk form. No dust, no sentries. He should be fine. TP's over into the bottom lane. Going to clear it out. Make sure that all the waves are constantly pushed out. Few pings happening. M0PLO is invisible. He scouts out Spooky Scary Skeleton as well as Diablos. And looks like convergence happening. They start backing out. They don't want any part of this. They're completely on their own. No support from Brightside New Zealand, although he can BOT in. Sees the cheeses hanging around the background. Level 5 Dagon up on Tinker. He's now able to provide so much damage for his team as well as a lot of utility. Tornado and EMP catches out the Slark. They're actually turning around. Manny J. Bell pops the Shadow Dance very early. Lands a pounce Spooky Scary Skeleton, but isn't able to accomplish all too much. Tinker instantly kills Ancient Apparition with that Dagon, with that laser. Throws out Martian Machines, immediately blinks out, rearms. So he can do it all over again. And the dire side back off. They don't want to fight this 4v5. Spooky Scary Skeleton actually going to catch out 2 heroes, Buzzincendio as well as M0PL alone. Magnus is immediately hexed. Dagon goes down through the Vendetta as well as the hex. One last right click from Invoker followed by the Mana Burn. M0PLO hanging out in the trees. Praying to God no one notices him. Magnus buys back as he has RP. They need to hold this. And Team Struggle more than happy to waste that buyback. They're just going to back off, get some more farm, further their lead. Do a bit more split pushing over in the tier 2 and the bottom and top. Looks like a Roshan attempt's actually happening. Ice Wall throwing down. Not too sure what the Ice Wall's throwing down there, to be honest. Maybe it was to slow down Roshan, but they're beating him down. Tiggle Biddy's actually going for the Maelstrom. Now that he has the Skull Basher, choosing not to upgrade it immediately into the Abyssal Blade. Just wants that extra attack speed, helps mitigate the negative 80% attack speed debuff from Viper's Viper Strike, as well as the negative 30% debuff coming up from Corrosive Skin. Lifestealer picks up the edges of the Immortal, so that gives him a bit more survivability in his fights. I would actually like to see that on Tinker. But Tinker with his survivability from his Blink Dagger should be fine. Slark picks up a Vladimir's Offering. He's got the Eye of Skadi now. So he's able to provide that snake. He can go toe-to-toe in these fights. But the fact that he really got shut down in the early game, wasn't able to start that snowball lead, means his effectiveness has tapered off very quickly. Would have liked to see Shadow Blade picked up on him as well as an early point that Dark Pact, so he wouldn't have died so many times in the bottom lane. But that's for later on. Diablos has picked up that Yule Scepter. Team Struggle really seem to like their Yule Scepters. They're always going for them. In this case, it's a great way to deal with Slugs. If you get pounced, you cycling yourself up. Waste 2.5 seconds of Slug's time unless he decides to turn around on somebody else. Means he's forced to switch target. Tornado flies out as well as EMP. He hits Manny J. Bell. He's hexed up. Dagon, laser. Where's the rocket? Blows the Shadow down, so he should be fine. Millsy as well as M0PL are caught way out of position. Up in the trees. 2-man RP plays as well as the Ice Blast. Just hits Tiggle Biddies. Echo Slam hits on Tiggle Biddies, but he's in range form. He doesn't care. Meatball drops. Doesn't hit anybody, but looks impressive nonetheless. Ancient Apparition eats the Mana Burn. Ice Wall throwing, catches up Magnus, eats a Dagon, eats a Hex. Brightside New Zealand throws out one last heat-seeking missile. Blinks out. He's going to go back home. He's down to mana. Slark goes down to the Lifestealer. Ancient Apparition caught out position. Poor Ancient Apparition. He goes down to Tiggle Biddies. He smacks him down. Shoots lightning as he kills him. That looks like a free tier 2 or maybe a tier 3. Without the Magnus
Dire's middle
RP,
tower is under attack.
not all too much they could do. Brightside New Zealand hanging around the middle lane. Bottom tier 2 tower is going to go down. They trade the Naix Assassin for 3, more than happy with that. Didn't even lose the Aegis in that fight. Just going to double... No, actually no, they did lose the Aegis in that fight, but they do catch up to Slark. Deafening Blast used to farm creeps. Magnus goes in for the Blink Skewer, misses everybody, runs away into the corner of shame, hoping nobody saw that, but we all saw it. Throws out the Shockwave. Not an awful lot he could do without RP. That's the drawback of Magnus. Unless he picks up a lot of farm outside of his RP, there isn't all too much he really can provide. The Shockwave is nice, but the later the game goes, the less effective it becomes. Ice Blast whiffs. Diablos is caught out by the Fisher. He's pretty low. Tornado flies out, misses everybody. Tinker jumps in. Hexes, lasers, rockets, rearms, Dagons him again. Hexes Millsy and then blinks on her. Millsy then cops the EMP. Ancient Apparition almost goes out, dies to the Deafening Blast. Brightside New Zealand comes and kills him. Millsy pops his BKB. Throws out his ult over on Tiggle Biddies, but Tiggle Biddies with the sheer amount of attack speed doesn't really care. Brightside New Zealand patiently waiting for Millsy. So BKB to wear off, throws out the Dagon, doesn't kill him, throws out the rocket to finish him off. Manny J Bell, hexed up, put out in the Cold Blast Snap, throws out that Pounce, but then goes down. That looks like game for the folks over on Slithereen Squad. They're going to lose their bottom racks and possibly their top. And yeah, there you go. Magnus calls it GG. 42 minutes and 20 seconds in. Great plays coming out from Slithereen Squad. They did play a pretty good game. But nonetheless, the superior... Mr. Brightside New Zealand has a phenomenal Tinker play, able to turn it around. VODs will be uploaded tomorrow, as always. Thanks for watching, everybody, and 49 will be signing out.